With Libya, this may be a dumb question, but instead of constantly putting ourselves in the position of bombing dictators, why don't we stop selling them bombs? I don't know. Some people accuse me of saying, David, every time a Republican or a conservative makes a simple argument, you go on this 15-minute rant with tons of nuance and details about why it's not the case, and you need to be the one with the simple arguments. I feel like this argument may be too simple, but instead of bombing dictators, why don't we stop selling them bombs? If we stopped selling arms to repressive regimes, they may be able to get weapons from other places, certainly, but at least we wouldn't be complicit in so many countries using American weapons against their own people. I think I like the idea.
And against us.
And against us. In 2009 alone, European governments, including Britain and France, sold Libya almost $500 million worth of weapons, including fighter jets, guns, bombs. And before it started calling for regime change, the Obama administration was working to provide Muammar Gaddafi almost another $100 million in weapons, on top of the $17 million it gave in 2009 and the $46 million the Bush administration gave in 2008. Yemen has received over $300 million in military aid from the U.S. over the last 5 years. Obama administration continues to support the corrupt thug and president for life, Ali Abdullah Saleh, who recently ordered a massacre of more than 50 of his own people. Let's stop selling weapons to people who we end up bombing. Tell me where I'm going wrong, Lewis.
No, that's fine, but how do you propose to stop it?
Oh, come on! I have no idea. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy with a radio show. I just asked the question. Somebody much smarter than me has to figure that out, right?
Perhaps, yeah.
Rather than engage in this cruise missile liberalism, I read that some are calling it, Obama could save lives by immediately ending support for brutal regimes. But for U.S. administrations, and we're talking Democrats and Republicans, ladies and gentlemen, selling weapons seems to trump liberation. We hear so much, the people need to be liberated. Let's spread democracy. But I guess arms sales are more important. I'm actually reading a book right now called The Night Manager. It's by spy fiction master John le Carre, wrote Spy Who Came In From the Cold and all the George Smiley stuff. And it actually deals with an undercover operation around the first Gulf War to track down and entrap an arms dealer. And it's fascinating. And really, it just reminds me of what we're talking about now with Libya. Last September, the Financial Times reported that the U.S. had struck deals to provide Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Oman with over $100 billion worth of arms. Okay? Half of that was going to the repressive monarchy of Saudi Arabia. You remember George W. Bush holding hands with them. And instead of forking $150 million a day to the weapons industry to attack Libya or selling weapons to the Saudis to repress their own people and those of Bahrain, what about if the people here, Lewis, the ones being asked to forego Social Security to pay for this, those being asked to forego collective bargaining rights because we can't afford it? What if they demand we stop arming dictators in our name? Can it happen?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out why arm them in the first place. I mean, is this a form of control? Is this a way to?
The rabbit hole is deep, Lewis. You know that. I mean, there's a number of factors. There's the financial factor. There is the idea of, well, we think they're our friends and it can help us against those that at the time we think are our enemies. Rumsfeld shaking hands with Saddam in the 80s. And forget about dropping bombs in the Middle East. Stop selling them bombs.
I feel like the financial factor is not a very big one.
Really? No, I think it's big. I mean, there's tons of deals made, Lewis, where the U.S. will go to, for example...
But it's not like there aren't bidding wars here going on where, I mean, if they were going to get a better deal from another country, they'd take it. So, I mean, how much profit are we really making?
That's not the way it works. Oh, Lewis.
What's going on there?
Poor Lewis, ladies and gentlemen, is so naive here. Just shop around. They'll get a better deal. Lewis, the thing is this. I wish it were that simple. The U.S.
Enlighten me, David.
The U.S. will go to another country and say, we're going to help you. We're going to give you military aid. How's 200 million sound? It sounds good? Great. We'll give it to you. No strings attached. Oh, except you've got to spend 95% of it on weapons from American companies. So why would they shop around? Why on earth would they shop around? The U.S. is giving them money. All they're saying is you got to buy American weapons with it. You're going to go for a 5% discount from whoever else and pay for it with your own money, or take the
other
aid?
countries aren't going to give them the same deal?
Apparently not.
You're telling me no other superpowers are going to give them the same deal?
We may find isolated instances, Lewis, of anything. But what I'm saying is...
Like people in China have not thought of doing this.
There's a number... Listen, in China, they're reverse engineering downed U.S. planes to figure out certain technologies. So just because China would have an incentive doesn't mean they can provide everything the U.S. can provide.
Perhaps.
But Lewis's naivete here it's striking, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to move on. I don't want to further embarrass Lewis and talk him into a corner.
I'm very embarrassed right now.